You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! What up, me aunt? This is your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today, folks, we got some entrepreneurial greatness that we're going to be showing you today. I mean, homie is an amazing entrepreneur. I'm going to get into that in one sec. But I had to have a certain co-pilot with me today because of the journey that our guest is on. Let me introduce the one, the only host of Awesome Sauce Radio, the man himself, the comic pimp, Mr. Blind Adam. What's up, kiddo? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. This was a nice treat to come home from a hectic day, but we have a really good guest today.
Good guest. I think it's an amazingly great guest. I mean, this guest is the co-founder and CEO of Aira Tech, and he's also the founder of Personal.ai. He's doing what I like to call some God's work out there, helping people that have visual impairments and whatnot through technology. My man is a master here. I mean, this is like Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity all morphed into one. Let me introduce the great, the one, the only super entrepreneur, Suman Kanuganti. Wepa, kiddo, how you doing today?
Good, Al. That was a fantastic introduction. Thanks, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, kiddo, for coming on and just talking about the stuff that you do in this particular field, bro. Blessed, man. We're blessed to have you on. So
thanks a lot.
So let's get into it. Let's start digging, because the first thing that Comic Crusaders needs to know is, like any great superhero, because you are a superhero in the entrepreneurial world to me. Let us know where you're from originally, and just a little bit about your background growing up. Where you came from.
Well, I'm not sure about if I'm the superhero, because you are definitely wearing a Superman T-shirt, so you are the superhero here. But originally, I'm from India. I came to United States almost 20 years ago now. I did my college, I did my master's, I got my engineering degrees in robotics as well. I got a business background as well. So I think over a period of time, after working at many different corporations, Qualcomm, Caterpillar, many different places, I took the route of being an entrepreneur, because I figured I ultimately like creating experiences and creating products for people. I will tell you more about it, but that's kind of a big, brief, background of where I'm from.
So, but what led you to kind of steer towards technology, if you will? Based on the companies you just shouted out, I needed a broom to, to sweep up all those amazing names. So, what inspired you to go that route?
Oh, wow. I didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice?
I mean, you're talking about growing up in India, and this was like a few years ago, a few decades ago now, and you become only one of two things. You're either an engineer or you're a doctor. And I guess there is definitely an engineer in me than a doctor.
Hey, but you operate on computers, kid, so you are a doctor of sorts.
It's not like I'm forced into it, but I definitely enjoyed the idea of the technology and the engineering and, creating things with the technology. Even during the college times, I didn't have access to computer for a long, long time. And then I was pretty much...
So wait. You're getting into engineering and technology, but you didn't have access to the technology.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow,
so that's kind of like, I will try to probably circle up the story, but access is something that I'm like normally always passionate about. So the overarching theme that the companies that I build is about access.
As it should be, because listen, I work in the technology field as well for my day job, and I speak to many people from India, as tech support and all. And sure. They talk about access and remote work, and it's just, thank you for doing that too, because out there they work hard, son, for real, at such a low level of pay that it's so sad. Like, people in the United States complain, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you have, if you will, a group of people that you grew up with that you kind of click with that help inspire you in your journey?
I mean, I will remiss if I don't talk about my parents, because they are obviously like hard workers. They work for the government. Both my mom and my dad work for the government. My dad was a health worker, mostly like doing all the vaccinations, back in the days of,
Okay.
previous vaccinations of polio and chickenpox and everything else, getting everybody vaccinated in the nation. And my mom was a teacher, like she was a elementary school teacher. And obviously, she, I grew under like, she had like three kids, man. Like she had three kids, and she has to travel like 20 miles or so
Wow,
in the
really?
public transportation, and she has to come back and take it out. So I like thinking back right now. Yes, of course, I'm in United States and I have a kid right now. It's like, oh my god, this is extremely hard. How did my mom do it?
Right. And I
So
mean, and we have the ease of access with technology, our own vehicles, right? I
yeah,
mean, wow, 20 miles, that's 40 miles a day back and forth, if you will.
yeah,
Wow. I mean, that what a rough, that's crazy.
yeah.
When did they come to this country then? Did they come to this country or you came first?
No, I came to this country.
You came. So they still back home, if you will?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What made you decide to come to America?
Oh dear, my first flight ever was coming to United States.
That was your first flight ever?
Oh, wow.
He's like, oh my God. So the first time you ever leave your country, man, you come in here for the first time. That's the first ever you leaving home. Wow.
And then I land in Missouri, Columbia, in like middle of the
Missouri.
country.
Why Missouri? I would think New York, Massachusetts,
Yeah, I was like,
Florida.
wow.
California. Yeah, that's
Straight
what
to
you
the
would think.
Midwest.
So I was an engineer, and one of the schools that is really good in United States in robotics that I was passionate about was University of Missouri, Columbia. And I also had friends there. That's a different story. But for
How did you meet
robotics,
them?
it
Wait
is
a
a good
minute.
school.
Don't you escape from that one. You said you
Okay.
had friends there. How did you get friends there? Is this you met them internationally somehow?
No, the only one friend that I had back in my town, which is this very small town, ended up in the same school because
Oh,
he
cool.
also was from like engineering background. So it's a good engineering school. And then now on the hindsight, I was like, I probably made a mistake because I had admission into MIT as well, but I didn't realize how important it was.
What? What? Oh my God!
The
Did
thing
you
is
hear
that-
this, Adam?
Yeah, MIT up in Cambridge, man.
He said no to MIT.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God, yo!
Okay, I have terrible, more other terrible stories
Thank
if
you,
you want to
Rudy.
go into terrible stories, but it's life.
Yeah, yo, what's up, Tank Ferret? For real, yo. I mean, because this is the boss right here. You guys are seeing he's a boss. You guys have no idea the boss that this man is. So, all right. So, how easy was it for you as a young man to, just graduating college to get into even the technology field? Was it an easy thing for you to get into, graduating college? Were you doing it during college? What was that like for you?
I mean, I don't consider that as an event, right? It was almost like a process. So it wasn't like an overnight thingy. Me coming to the US is an overnight thingy. So, I went to school. I was mostly passionate about science and technology, mostly engineering.
Okay.
And then once I started my, college as well as my master's, I gradually kind of picked up, access to the computers, and, whatever was theoretical knowledge is now coming into reality. So it wasn't an event. It was mostly like a process. And I would want to say it was challenging, but at the same time, it's not easy. But I was passionate about it, so I think I was probably enjoying it much more than trying to get into it.
Gotcha.
Specifically, back in those days, because of access, open source, I was more passionate about Linux because Linux was free, right? And
Oh, I remember. I
Yeah.
was messing with the Red Hat version. And Tank Ferret has a real quick question. What field of engineering are you specialized in, if any? He goes.
yeah, so my college is in electronics and instrumentation. So a lot has to do with sensors, and in today's world, it's IoT. My master's is in robotics. So
Whoa. Are you gonna make me a real Megatron? Not even Optimus. I want a real Megatron.
there is definitely a robotic startups in my life, but I'm waiting for a perfect convergence of many different things to actually solve
Waiting.
problems.
Do not wait for the convergence, but rather create it. Be
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the
So I think-
spark, baby.
Yeah. Creating convergence in the fields where it's almost like a prerequisite for a next wave of convergence, which is robotics convergence with AI. We can talk about all later.
We're gonna be talking about that. So that's one of the reasons I have Adam on. because I know that one of the things you seem to be passionate about is helping the visually impaired through certain things. So I'm going to leave the floor to Adam real quick to ask you a couple of questions about that journey, why you even stepped into that. Actually,
So,
before you even give you that, why did you step into the that journey? And then Adam, the rest is yours.
okay.
Okay. Why did I step in? Probably Adam heard the story with many podcasts that I did while I was at Ira, building Ira. But generally, I'm most passionate about like trying to solve hard problems or human problems with convergence of technologies. And human problems is like a little like a vague thing, right? Like, what does human problems mean? For me, it's about what are the things that are close to individual person and human, and is that meaningful enough to solve using technology. So with Ira, I had a good friend of mine. His name is Matt Brock. He and myself, we used to talk a lot about technology until Google Glass came along. We suddenly thought, oh, hang on,
Ooh, okay.
um, that is what we need for actually creating that visual information that is missing from people who are blind and low vision, to create an experience.
Okay.
And that's kind of how the inception of Ira began, and it was already close to my heart because of my friend. So I chose that path and had a right mix of convergence that is about to happen, so I jumped on it.
Wonderful. Adam, floor is
Yeah.
yours, kiddo.
Okay. So, what is the this new device that you've created?
When is Ira started, Adam?
Yeah, basically, how did you come up with the development of Aira, and how does it like help people with visual impairments?
Yeah. So this started the Jan of 2015, and even before the company started, I was probably working on it for 5 to 6 months. Initially, it was purely a concept, right? A concept. If there were rich visual descriptions of life around a blind person that is in real time, what would that mean to people who are blind and low vision, right? So that was initially the thesis or the hypothesis. So I pulled together a proof of concept with Google Glasses, and we created a streaming engine on the glasses. And I had a person looking at the stream remotely, uh, describing in real time what is happening around them. And that first person ever who said okay for my experimentation was actually my wife.
Hey, sarat to the missus.
I mean, that's what
Yeah.
you do, right? Like to bootstrap, you basically pull all the things that you got in your hands to create
Yes, you do.
an experience. And then I flew to Denver. Um, that's where Matt Brock lives. And then I said, okay, let's try this thing out. And dear, I remember like the first time when it actually like worked, and then it was like 10-second, 15-second delayed, but still Matt said, Suman, this must be like mind blowing because I never had such kind of access to the information like what I
Wow.
just experienced like right now. Because generally there is, I mean, of course, I learned a lot about blind community, and I kind of built this company with the blind community alongside, and I kind of learned the structured discovery and what process that goes into it. And even I actually got the training as well at Louisiana Center for the Blind myself with
I was going to
manual.
ask, did you have any blindness skill training going into learning how to make the device, user friendly for people who are visually impaired? So
Yeah,
you were at Louisiana.
yeah, I went to Louisiana. Yep.
I've heard of the place. I'm a Denver person myself,
Say it
but
again, Adam.
I am affiliated with the Denver school.
Oh, you went to Denver school. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are in Denver too. Oh, wow.
No,
Huh.
I'm not in Denver anymore, but
Oh, okay. You went to
one of the
school there.
other NFB schools is out in Denver.
Were you at the NFB convention last week?
No, I missed it this year.
Oh, okay. I was there speaking.
Oh, you spoke there this past weekend.
Yeah.
Wepa. So
I mean,
How was this year's NFB convention?
yes.
it was good. New Orleans. It was interesting because the exhibit hall and the convention center is split, and it was a busy street. And the weird part was you had to like go around to get to the signals and cross. So I think there was not so efficient, but generally like people coming together after 2 years, or now I should say 3 years, right? May
Yes.
that was fantastic. So I had like heck of a time, like just catching up with everybody. And since Ira and this company, I didn't meet a lot of people, so it was like, Suman, you're building something new. What's happening? There's
Right? What have you been doing, man? You've been locked up. I mean, but Suman has been building. I mean, because again, look, this guy, folks. Before we continue, so I don't know. He's been recognized as SDBJ's 40 under 40, Smithsonian's top innovators, right? He's a robotics expert. He's been featured on CNN and Forbes. I mean, this man, and he helps others, and he's creating even more stuff, particularly personal AI, things that we're going to get into, because as the creator, he's talking about people being able to create, own, and monetize their personal AI, something very interested in. But before we get into that, I know Adam has a couple more questions, but I definitely want to talk about that AI stuff, because I'm a personality. So if I could clone myself somehow, bro, let's get it done.
We don't need two owls running around.
1 mega is enough.
Yeah. This new device that you're building, how does it differ from Aira?
It is different from Ira in the sense that the community, the feel of the community is slightly different. I should say dramatically different. Maybe it's like a lot more different, because I will say similarities first, and then I said differences, because I think that probably makes more sense. From the similarity standpoint, earlier I was talking about like picking hard problems, and how can we use technology to kind of augment. With Ira, it was about vision, right? It's missing
Yes.
visual information, and then using the technology, AI, AR people to kind of converge them to fill that gap of missing visual information. In this case, it's about your mind, your memory, your experiences that you have every day. Every day we create, consume a lot of things, but we obviously forget a lot. Our creations or our actions or decisions is not based on like sum total of all our experiences. And in fact, there is science that says 80% of what we pretty much experience, creation or consumption, is lost. It's like entirely lost. It's just gone. So
Gone.
the core thesis is, what if you can actually indeed create a digital mind of you as in your own personal AI? That
What?
was the core thesis of personal AI. Um, so the difference is personal AI. With Iro, we had a community. I know exactly where to go, the people to talk to, who are the most valuable um, uh, people to speak to. Like with the personal AI, it was a little bit blurry for me. Like I didn't know which community uh, to go to, whom to talk to. I talked to like many different people. I went to a group of like dementia, because that obviously was augmenting missing memory information for people, early stage memory loss. But technology wasn't there. The convergence cannot happen. So I soon realized that, and then moved to like other groups of people. So anyway, after like bunch of experimentation, and now I think I found the community where this company belongs, which is the thought leaders and creators, which I can talk a little bit more about. But I think that was about probably one of the big differences, Adam.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. You got anything else, Adam?
I'm good at the moment. I need a minute to recalibrate my thoughts.
No worries. So, okay. So, talk to me about this personal AI, because you're talking about helping people to create, own, and monetize their personal AI. Now, that for me is the key word: personal AI. Everybody, me too, man. Skynet. So, talk
Hey,
about
that
this.
requires convergence of robotics. We'll do it very soon. It's exactly as you said. It's personal AI. So if you think about our experiences every day as people, we are talking to a lot of people. We are doing a lot of social media. We are probably doing a lot of podcasts. We are
Yes.
um, writing in different platforms. We are using any number of different tools. One thing that is common with most of these tools is when you write on Twitter, the data is stuck in Twitter. If you write on Facebook, the data is stuck in Facebook. If you are talking to a a person, if it is not recorded, then it's probably lost. Um, if you are recording, such as like Zoom or this podcast, it's probably stuck in their platform as well.
Okay.
So what's happening is the aggregation of the data that is happening to the platforms with multiple people across. But if you flip that narrative and think about what if we aggregate all this data for the individual,
Mm.
right? Now we are talking about aggregating AI and creating a model around the experiences and creations of that person, and what can we do with it, which is, I think, is fascinating, and that's why I'm building this company. Now, in other words, this is
You
a
are blowing my mind right now because I
This
see
is
so
this.
many different possibilities.
that's exactly what we're building. So we built a system where technically you can capture any creations or any consumptions that you are doing every day on a day-to-day basis, as well as your historical piece of information, and process them into what we call a memory stack, which is nothing but a series of structured data on a timeline, if you will, right?
Okay.
And you own this data. It belongs to you. We actually guarantee the ownership of the data with technology such as blockchain.
Oh, so you
Uh,
guarantee that I have my data ownership? Because again, people worry about that data. Very sensitive stuff. So
mhm.
I own it regardless.
And then
You
it's
own.
protected by the blockchain, you're saying?
Yes.
Hmm. I'll let you work this out. You're killing me here, bro.
Yeah, and then it's what
Yeah,
else?
but I mean, my man is a genius over here. Look at
I,
Suman is like Lex Luthor right now with
I
that
think we
smile,
have
bro.
a real life Tony Stark here, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So,
Wow.
the I think it's not rocket science. I think it's just about like the mindset, like how you think about it.
Okay.
Um, so if you like with Ira, right? Since Adam is here, the
Yes.
idea of like using Google Glasses, which has a camera, pretty much everybody asked me, how would it be useful for blind person, right? Because it's a camera equipped device, and are you like zooming in on the display? Like, what is happening? Is it for like low vision people to zoom in things? Uh, but the concept was fairly simple. It's like somebody else is
Yeah,
looking at it,
someone else is
processing it,
being
and
the eyes inside the camera, so
yeah, yeah, it's the camera itself.
yeah.
Now, in this scenario with this company, if you think about blockchain, or if you think about AI, or even any of the technologies, they are merely pieces of technologies. What we are interested in is solving this idea of creating digital mind for augmenting yourself in the manner that is acceptable to people, which comes, the first thing is privacy. First thing is ownership, right?
Yes.
And that are fundamental. So if blockchain allows us to guarantee that, why shouldn't we use it, right? um
Yes.
I can get into a little bit more like
Get into
political
it.
topics,
Get
but
in. No, I want you to get into that because people need to realize that when private, being private is a real thing. So a lot of things we don't want out there. You know what I mean? And,
Mhm.
and, and if we're able to protect our assets, if you will, and a very secure platform, why wouldn't we want to do that, if you
Yep.
will?
And that is it. So all the data that goes into your memory stack, it's your digital asset. It's almost like continuously an automated way of capturing and creating your life that is
It's
yours.
a digital fingerprint, but also would you consider it a digital soul?
We'll get to that AI part in a second.
Oh snap! Oh, everybody get metaphysical, people.
Okay, let's talk now. Switch to the AI part. Um, Soul is probably like a little bit too far out, which I am not capable enough to even talk about it, I think. However, the idea of the AI is to make sense of all the data that you have within your sphere. So let's just say, you know, Al, you are a podcaster. You probably have a blog as well. You're probably talking to many people. So you have it
Yes.
in mind. You have it captured. Now imagine if I had to talk to you again or a follow up because I'm enjoying this conversation, I would have to, either text you or I should ask you for a call and get on the call.
Yes.
But you are the busy person, you don't have time for me. Now imagine your digital mind can actually do that in a more authentic manner, like you would, right? I want to brainstorm some topics about blockchain or maybe some of the podcasts that you had with other people. Now, rather
Yes.
than thinking about passively consuming the content or listening to the content and forgetting about it, or God knows where it is in the web, now I can actually text, direct message your personal AI and get a response from your AI. It's just not about like emotional connection. It's about your mind. It's about your knowledge. It's about the thought process and how you think about things. And that's exactly the experience today. Once you create
So
your personal AI,
so
people can
this
message.
personal AI kind of figures out my mental algorithm, if you will.
It is an algorithm of your data.
So it's
Whoa.
accurate, an algorithm of, you know, all the information you would have stored like in your memory.
Correct.
Whoa.
It's an
That is,
algorithm that is synthesizing all the data that you ever created in your life and continue to create.
Welcome to
It's as
Skynet.
simple as that.
Omega is gonna be a T3000. Don't you worry. I love yo
wait,
Suman. You are blowing my mind, bro. And this is all
I
on
find this
blockchain
really
too, right?
fascinating.
Isn't it fascinating? This is Suman, brother. I think you're one of the most interesting guests I've had thus far because the concepts here, it's just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. Like
But it's
really.
very simple.
But were you a movie fan to even get inspired with stuff like this? Because I mean, bro,
Yeah,
where did you even start
did you
digging
read
in
comic books and
to
watch
thinking
sci-fi
that
growing
way?
up?
I'm saying, for real. What inspired that, really? Because that's a very unique way of thinking.
Yeah, inspiration. I mean, I have a story for that too. I think most of the inspiration is always from people, right? So with Ira, we talked about Adam building the community, but my friend Matt Brock, that was the inception. With this company, it was my partner, mentor, investor, co-founder of Ira. His name is Larry Bock. He's actually legally blind. Adam, maybe you heard me
Yep.
tell this story before.
Yeah, I think
Whoa.
I've heard about him in the community, the blind community on and off.
Yes, yes. So Larry Bock, I say he bootstrapped me as an entrepreneur. That's kind of how
Hey.
I define it
He
because he created like
bootstrapped you. Hey, he
boot.
locked you down. He said, "That's it, Suman. You're going for a ride, kiddo."
No, he created like 27 companies and super successful entrepreneur. He's also a
Whoa.
Lux partner. And what happened was once we started working together, I was like learning a ton and getting inspiration a ton, ideating and strategizing a ton. And he gets pancreatic cancer and he passes away within
Oh.
like 9 months of fighting it. That was
How
devastating.
long? How long were you being mentored by him before he passed?
It's like almost 18 months. Yeah.
Oh my God! Really?
Oh,
So
wow,
you spent
it was
some good
only
time with
18
him?
months. Wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was only 18 months. And in fact, this was the last company that he created with me, right? So, after he passed away,
Wow.
there were like a lot of stories around, why did Larry spend so much time with this company, with this guy? So
So
it's
it's
sad.
very it's very personal, no pun intended, to
It
you
is
then.
surely personal. It was
Okay.
surely personal. I actually have his book right here. That's him.
Where about ideas, man? A Larry Bot guide to life. Can
Because
we
I'm
get this
creating.
like on Amazon or something?
Yeah, you can get it, but I'm creating his AI now, so I'm
You
ready
so wait a minute. So the world is gonna get Larry back in a way.
in a way. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Okay, brother, you're killing me, bro.
This is every comic book we've ever read come to
Right,
life.
you know what I'm saying, bro? That's what I'm telling you, bro. This is like aim high to the comic book government. This is everything all into one with Suman. I love it. Were you ever a comic book fan too? I gotta ask. Just gotta
Yeah.
ask. Did you ever read
I'm
Yeah,
comics
I
in
was beating
fandom?
you to it.
I'm into
Good.
comics, but I didn't had an opportunity to kind of dig deep into comic books as such. But I'm generally a
Okay.
comic fan, and in fact, I'm in San Diego, so I cannot not be a comic fan
Oh,
or a comic con fan. So
don't tell me you're going to the con this year.
I went last year, so I'll
Okay.
probably no, I'm not going this year. No. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's coming up really quickly next week. So yeah, it's
Yep.
crazy. It's
I'll be
crazy.
there. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I lived
If
in downtown, so it always was so much easier
Oh
to go
yeah,
to
that's
concerts.
all you gotta do. Who needs listen, folks? Real talk. You do not need a pass to SDCC. You
Yeah,
just go to downtown
you can
and you
just
hang
walk
out.
all
Oh
downtown
yeah,
and just
Yeah,
stay outside and
and you
basically.
party, son. I got
it's the
so
most
messed
beautiful
up.
place to party.
It is. It's beautiful. They cover down. They close downtown for comics, folks. I love it. And they're soon gonna be closing downtown for technology when Suman be bringing the stuff to the block because, bro, again, you're doing amazing things. What do you feel about the creator economy? Are we in a good place right now as creators? And what can we do to really take advantage of the current environment?
Yeah, very good question. I think there's tons happening in the creator economy, and there is tons of like thought leaders in the creator economy space. I'm probably like a newbie into the industry, if you will, right? Because I come from a problem first focused experience, and then everything else comes into play for me.
Okay.
So the reason we, landed with serving the creators as our first market is that these thought leaders, they have to do a lot of work on everyday basis, and they are probably creating tons of content everywhere in multiple different platforms. And they already they have these motivations of like creating and engaging with the communities, but they obviously don't have time. Like, so how do you elevate the connection that and access that these thought leaders and these creators has to a larger group of people? Even for example in here, Al, how many people listen to this live stream, how many people like listen later on? But
Yeah.
if indeed there is a AI of you that I can go interact with, I would likely do that much better than listening to a you know 2 hour
Yeah.
podcast that I already
Uh,
missed.
like Adam said, man, having two megas in the world is going to be very dangerous. It might cause the next Big Bang.
So going back to creator economy, I think there is a shift. There is a fundamental shift that is happening for the creator economy. One is primarily driven by the idea of data ownership itself.
Yes.
Uh, because right now I think platforms are, it created like good utility and good businesses, no pun intended. But I think creators or even consumers for that matter are more aware right now about that data ownership. Like, why is this data that we are creating and not creating more value back to us? So there is a issue with the economic distribution of what is happening out there. And that goes back into core idea of like this data ownership. Now, if you do indeed own the data, maybe it will create additional value back to the creators.
Okay.
And we indeed need to bring something like an AI to the creator to actually extract that utility from the data that you own. Just by owning the data, you don't become like, rich or make additional money, but you need to create like utility, you create value. And the value in here is not only you are gaining inspiration and ideation within your own mind, because now you have some total of all your experiences, but that will become an alternate source for people to interact and access like your mind. Now imagine like the thought leaders beyond you. Since we are talking about like creator economy, what if Legion's AI is out there for people
Yes.
like me who are in the profession of creator economy to kind of understand her perspective on creator economy on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of
Gotcha.
the experiences that we want to unlock.
So, and I gotta ask you, is all this a creator economy part of Web3? And for people that don't understand what Web3 means, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I don't think creator economy everything has to do with Web3. What creator economy has to do is with identifying individuals who want to, who has like specific things, skills to offer that other people enjoy in its own business. Um, Probably the idea of the creator economy was happening all along. In other words, if you generally think about the businesses and how things have been built over a period of time, early on days during internet mainframes, only large institutions and governments had access to that internet and then power, right? So we were all like just simply consumers. We go to encyclopedia.com and read things when long time ago. But then as the further when the idea of server computing and pieces became more accessible to us and internet became more accessible to us, we started creating more and more. organizations, corporations, and startups that created like today's Google, today's Facebook, and everything else. So what is happening is there is a further decentralization of access to the hardware, access to the internet down to the individual level, where people can now create their own individual businesses in the form of their skills that they can offer. I am an artist. I would like to be, playing in the creator economy and go directly serve my community. I don't need a middleman, right?
Okay.
Uh, so the platforms enable the creator economy in Web 2 world, which is like YouTube's and podcasts and music. Now
Okay.
what is happening is the shift is happening with where we the creators are more motivated to engage directly their communities, and the economics are not at the mercy of the platform. The economics are at the mercy of their own individual ownership
Wow. So
and
the individuality and
individual.
wow and content. Wow. Nice. Okay. Okay. So how can
So
they
that
take advantage of that? How can they use that to their advantage? Like, do you have any advice of how any content creators could navigate this whole new world to their advantage?
Yeah, so there are many things. I think depending on what kind of a creator are you? Are you a podcast creator, content creator, um, existing like you create videos? Um, there is a set of tools that are available out there today. For example, if you are a artist, I think it's pretty very well matured, the businesses of NFTs and how you can create your own community, because you create an art and you associate authenticity and ownership to an NFT and you create a community around it. So I think that is pretty well versed. So if you're a creator who is an artist, I think you should simply search for like how do I leverage NFTs to create my own community and business.
How do you feel about NFTs? And, is that a viable a thing for creators to make revenue?
For certain kinds of people, yes. And that's why I was trying to like give examples on not everything will solve everything.
Yeah.
um, uh, so NFTs will specifically good for like artists, because the asset itself is an art. It makes much more
Okay.
sense. It's not about you know downloading the image. It's about the art, it's about the person, it's about the connection to the art and the thing that goes behind it. So when you're attaching the idea of the concept of the NFT to a real authentic thing, yes, I think it's a real thing. But however, people misuse things. So there are a lot of scams, there are a lot of like things that does happen in the world of NFT. But NFT is nothing but a mechanism, a tool that is
Okay.
available out there for artists to
Okay.
do it. But anyway, going back to your question on creators, like musicians can go to something called audios, kind of similarly leverage the Web3 technologies and have your community kind of buy into your music. You
Yeah.
can
And so
create like
your
without any,
brand.
yeah, it's your brand and without any like central distributor or provider,
Got
if you will. And if it is a thought leader, that's where we come into play, which is personal AI. Now you have your you know kind of digital
you.
mind that you own and you can monetize it,
Got you.
and people
But
can
but but hopefully it's not taking 30% like YouTube.
no, no. So even if you think about the economics are like all messed up over there. It's not just about 30%. It's about, are you trying to build for like 1,000 true fans, or are you trying to build for you know 10 million people? Meaning it takes extremely long amounts of effort for make any meaningful money on platforms like YouTube
Absolutely
before
correct.
you get to that stage. Now,
Yeah.
people has done it. That's great, but it does not work for people who has
Everyone.
like 100 true fans and 1,000 true fans. With the Web3 world, it actually works for 100 true fans. It actually works for 1,000 true fans,
Oof.
because there is no middle person to actually take the cuts. So
Oh my! You hear this, folks? People, we're
Well,
about to
it's
make some
totally cut
money.
out like that.
So, Adam, as a host of your own podcast, vidcast, what type of questions as a content creator do you have for Suman?
Uh, basically, how what do you see the great? I just had a brain fart for a second. Al, uh,
No worries. So, am I guessing? How do you see this community going? Do you think it's going to be easily accepted? Maybe. Do you think creators will be easily understanding of this new approach? Is there a learning curve, Suman? I mean, what do creators need to do to be able to, really get, over
Yeah.
themselves here and win?
Yeah. So I think it's a good question. I would like one thing I would say is don't fall in love with the technology, fall in love with your community. In other words,
Okay.
there is a tendency of the Web3, like this idea of like, okay, crypto native, like everything is crypto. Um, but I think what matters the most is Web3 enables like a novel way to nurture the community, but that should not be the core reason to nurture a community. You nurture a community for a purpose,
Yeah.
and that purpose should exist. If that purpose exists and you have a company, then you can use Web3 as a set of tools to maximize the work that you're doing and the community love that they have for you. Right. So that's
excuse,
kind of how I would think about it.
excuse me, as a content creator, what do you think the how difficult is the point of entry going to be for someone brand new wanting to start in the this new content creator driven economy that we're going into?
Uh, at this time, it is hard. It is not like, oh, you know what, there is one response or one thing to say, you know what, everything will make it easy. Right now, we have to figure out understanding what the wallets mean, where do you store the money, how do you transfer the money, which platforms to use, what are the authentication mechanisms. So it's messy. Uh, so I don't want to set false expectation that it's all easy for everybody to access it. It does take a little bit of learning curve on understanding uh, what uh, what it means. And I think first of all, it's about coming with a plan. Like, what is your plan? What is your goal? And there are courses, there are communities actually for Web3 beginners who are content creators to be in that space as well. So there is an
Okay.
entry point too. In the context of personal AI, we are a experience focused company. In other words, for us, it's not about like just pushing the Web3 as our agenda. For us, it's about how do we solve the problem of access between the people, and how do we augment people. So in that mechanism, we are using Web3 for ownership reasons and monetization reasons. For example, when Al has this personal AI and I will fall in love with him, uh, i can simply I can simply subscribe to his AI, right? Similar to subscribing to your content or newsletter or podcast, right?
Okay.
Or people can, you, Al, can issue a NFT collection which says this is Al's personal AI NFT collection. And Suman,
Okay.
if you buy one of my NFTs, then you will have access to my AI. But the big difference, if you think about like the first model, which is subscription, everybody understands it. With the NFT model, is very simple, which is in the first model, it's a flat price. Platform is setting the price. In
Yeah.
the second model, everything is dynamic. So as your demand increases, Al, when you get to 100 to 1,000 to a million, your price kind of increases. So
Gotcha.
that's how economics actually work. It
Well,
doesn't really
listen, Suman. Fat Joe says this all the time. Yesterday's prices are not today's prices. You know what I mean? Isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
an
yeah.
entrepreneur, I mean,
Yeah,
let's get
exactly.
real. That's just
Exactly.
what it is. I
So
mean,
now we should give that to creators as well, or to
yeah,
everybody for that matter.
absolutely. Like yesterday, we had one price, but you missed the boat, and now it's back up.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to pay today's price.
Exactly. I know when Fat Joe says that, because for me it's like, preach, my brother, preach. Ain't that the truth?
Hey,
Um,
would it be okay if I ask one more another Ira question?
go
Sure.
ahead, brother.
Uh, how can Ira help someone who's visually impaired and wanting to get into the creator content world to make everything like kind of sort of into mix?
Oh yeah, good question. Good question. I actually have few good stories about it.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you know the blind person. Her name is Joy Mistovich.
I
Uh,
heard of her.
yeah, she actually wrote her second book, and she gave me her book. I think I have it somewhere here.
This guy got
Okay.
books everywhere. I love this guy.
um, so she used like Ira in the process. So I wouldn't think about like Ira in the context of the content creator, but rather Ira in the context of what is missing for you to be the content creator that you would want to be, right? So for example, are you okay, you are trying to create some content and thought leadership. Do you have plans on what platforms do you want to be, for what reasons, and are those platforms accessible or not accessible? Are there any like visual elements that with providing rich description, your inspiration and ideation will kind of elevate to serve your customers and communities better? So that's kind of how I would think about like leveraging Ira in the process for the content
Mm,
creators and creators.
mm.
Oh wow.
Does that satisfy you, Adam?
Yes, it does. It means maybe there's a couple of personal assistants that can be replaced with technology.
Don't be, yeah, listen, who you talking about? It better not be me, bro.
No, no, it's not you. It's other people who you know who decided to say,
Suman, look at that. You just got me fired from helping Blind Adam.
no,
Look
it's not you. Like
at
other people who
I'm
say,
only kidding. I'm only kidding. I know, brother. I'm only kidding.
yep,
But Suman is doing, like I said, God's work, man. He's helping, communities. He's helping creators. He's helping, blind. I mean, brother Suman, you are doing amazing work. Flower is time. I always say this. Flower is time, baby. I just want to say thank you, Suman. Thank you for being brave enough to be an entrepreneur, brave enough to step into this world, brave enough to try
uh,
and tackle the world's problems, and helping certain
excuse me,
communities.
Al. I want to say thank you for something.
You go ahead,
Thank,
bro.
thank you for creating technology that has enriched people's lives, especially mine. Uh,
Hey.
I use Ira. I also use Be My Eyes. With technology, I'm starting to think of if I was 50 years ago. You know, I was like, I can't even imagine what being blind 50 years ago was like anymore because of all things like
Hmm.
Ira now.
Wow.
Thanks,
You
Adam.
see,
Well,
Suman's
I'm
gonna.
grateful. Thanks for the kind words. I'm grateful, but it's fun having conversations with you.
Well, you do what you do, Suman. You keep going. So, before we go, what's in the future? Can we see you anywhere? Will you be speaking anywhere? What's popping next, for you, Suman? Ah, he got I got a busy ass schedule, son.
Well, mostly I'm currently focused on the company and actually
Beautiful.
launching things and creating, actually launching creators AIs. So over the next weeks to months to like probably a few years, we'll continuously be launching the thought leader AIs and creating more and more AIs. Um, so I guess if you are a thought leader, or indeed like if you are a professional wanting to create your AIs, I would just have everybody sooner better than later, because AI, as you know,
So,
takes time, builds up.
yeah. And they need to go to personal.ai to contact you, correct?
Yeah, Personal.ai, and you can actually go hit explore AIs, and my AI is hanging out in there.
Oh,
Uh,
really? So we're gonna be talking to AI Suman and the AirPods. Check this out. He
y-
already got a clone of himself. Look at this guy.
yeah, you can.
Wait a minute. Am I? Adam, I know you can't see, but I'm just saying. Are we talking to the real Suman? Can the real Suman stand up?
Yeah, we got the real Saman. He's got
I,
the AI in the background doing other things right now.
I hope so.
This way he can be
Suman,
in two places at once.
hey, bro. Let's see it, man. I see this guy's a
Yeah, I mean,
superstar.
I
We're
think
gonna be doing some
it's
crazy stuff.
obviously it's all experimental, but it is out there. There's nothing to hide, and then
Amazing.
it's a learning experience. So we shall see how it goes.
So, lastly, what pieces of advice would you give anyone, entrepreneurial, that wants to step into any type of space based on your journey?
I'm not sure if I'm wise enough to give advices, but one thing I would say
After
is
what
that
you've done, how dare you? You're so humble.
let me think. Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to the previous mentality. I think a lot of people fall in love with the technology. I think it's important to like to be super grounded and like focus on the problems, and um, do more things for like real human beings, I guess.
Gotcha. There you go. Serve your community, serve the world, serve us earthlings. Because stop this black, white, brown, yellow stuff. Stop all that. At the end of the day, after you saw today's space telescope's picture, all right, come on now. This universe is much grander. So we are all human beings. We're nothing else. So let's get together and let's serve a greater purpose and just,
This
be
is
good to
definitely
one
an
another.
example of putting the world better, leaving the world in a better place than when you found it.
That's what Suman is trying to do. This is why people like this inspire you and me, Adam, and everyone else. So Suman, thank you again, like so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to chat with us today and talk about the greatness of the things you've done. Sharing your insight and all. You've been nothing but an amazing guest. And again, folks, I want you to go visit this website. It's Personal.ai. You're going to get a lot more insight, things into what Suman is doing. And if you're very interested, if you have a LinkedIn, go to Naganti Suman on LinkedIn, and on Twitter, it's Suman Kanuganti. All right. So, reverse. so check that out. Show them the love. Let them know Comic Crusaders sent you, and appreciate people that have the foresight to want to help the world in the way he does. So much kudos and salute to you, my brother. Bless you on this endeavor, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Because if I could get an Almega AI, watch out, world! You don't want me clone. That's gonna be dangerous, baby. So, and with that, thank you, Suman. Thank you, Adam. So, folks, I need you to check out my homie Adam every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Awesome Sauce Radio. It's not for kiddies, but it's definitely hella fun. So again, Awesome Sauce Radio every Wednesday at 9 on YouTube, Awesome Sauce Radio on Twitter, Awesome Sauce Radio, and on Comic Crusaders Twitch. All right. And with that, you know what to do when it comes to Comic Crusaders. Check out everything comiccrusaders.com, undercovercapes.com. And with that, Suman, thank you once again. God bless you. Adam, later, my brother. And mi gente, much love. Hasta la próxima. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.